attacks via ramp and via hut, that some of these angles are very CT favored. I mean, sometimes pushing an op in there can win you the duel. Here we see the Fomuses be just enough, and for Astralis that's a bit worrying. So you might get diminishing returns from sitting in lobby to hold for pushes if it's not your prerogative to try to rush upstairs, for example. So maybe, holding back with one might be enough, especially if you get lots of information on CTs that have pushed, because that can open up other parts of the map. In this situation, Vitality score all the kills. They put Astralis on the pistols. They win the round clean. They've upgraded to 3 AKs or 4 Tech 9s in the hands of Astralis. Nade lands at the feet of Yugi, as he's got his eyes set forward on the hut, looking for somebody to push, but there is nobody here.
They're just going to try to flood outwards, met by a smoke right as half of the terrorists get out. RPK can't turn back fast enough, but Zaiwu, he's in from above. He's gotten himself a couple of kills, and Shocks will seal the deal. 2 down for Vitality, but 4 up on the scoreboard.
I think the big question is that if you do pull off one of these lobby takes, or you're going to try it again, are you necessarily weak outside? And I don't think that is 100% true. I think there's a little bit less pressure that you can have outside. Maybe your mini guy is not just sitting in mini holding for the cross, but it would tell you that Astralis probably want to try to poke around on that part of the map if they think that Vitality are going to try one of those aggressive strats again.
Everybody's just cautiously walking around the map, not looking to lose their head to the Deagles. Hoping that there'd be somebody back behind blue, but Apex, he's going to find the timing on the secret peek. It seemed he holds it off. No rush.
Well, the aim looks...
Everything's fine. Oh, or so it was. Apex, he's going to peek up as Magis, who wasn't there originally, actually gets into position, but obviously these T's moving their feet past the blue box and starting to take head. Snappy finding great timing. It's all on Shocks. He gets softened up, but still able to take 2 kills back really quick.
Oh my god, that is not at all what I expected to happen. Shocks now, the 1v2 situation is definitely a winnable one, and although guns have been upgraded, Magisk and Snappy, they don't have head armor, from what I can tell. Nade will be perfectly placed, leaving Shocks in a one-on-one. Extremely high clutch percentage, in contrast to Snappy. Can he pull it off?
Well, he's going to close the double doors, focuses solely forward. Snappy just on the other side, lines up the spray. Oh, line of sight not needed. Snappy looking happy as he gets Astralis their second. That was 4 Tech 9s in the round, and they make it work.
No, it was 4 Deagle.
No, sorry, that was the round before, right?
Yeah. It was all of these. Okay, well, I guess it's basically Device outside. 2 very important kills to bring it that close, and Shocks almost pulls that back, but what a travesty for Vitality. They lose a round to only Deagle after surviving the force up to try to bring back the economy in favor of Astralis. So we've officially got a game on our hands already, and it felt like Vitality were about to walk away with this one, at least this half, from what we could see. Zaiwu has $5,100. We'll just invest in, it looks like, a Deagle and half armor. And his teammates, he was looking for the op this time around. It doesn't seem like anybody else in a position to buy too many things. So yeah, that's I mean, yeah, this is how it goes sometimes. The economy swings back in the favor of Astralis. They pick up 4 AKs. They look healthier than ever, and they have a eco cleanup round to try to steal back from Vitality. And unlike their eco, Vitality have much worse guns. They have 2 USPs to work with.
Betway odds flying in. Vitality still favored. 4 to the 2. But I wouldn't be shocked if those numbers were calculated previously to that last round. Because, as you said, a lot hinges on this. We're going to have Astralis coming in with real form, real advantage, and already an opening kill here. Device yet again outdoors. He'll be met by pistols at a distance. And not just 1, not just 2, but almost all of Vitality trying to find this fight versus him. So it's a nice little test, If he didn't warm up this morning, this should be the round to really make sure he's on points. But they do a good job of just offsetting the lineup slightly. And Zaiwu has something more to say. That's an M4 picked up. That's 2 rifles in the hands of Vitality. A 3 versus 3, but a bomb plant on the lower site with full armor and strong post-plant positions. Yeah, unlike that round previously where Astralis make things crazy, Vitality, they just simply have to save.
Yeah, not a terrible situation for both sides. I keep a couple of guns saved, a relatively clean round. Majority alive here for Astralis as they clean up on the eco round. Device, I mean, when does he not look in form? He's not the player that you go, oh, he's having a great game. He is playing like he always does. We saw that on the Deagle round. We see this in this anti-eco round with the 2 simple kills. And I just want to know what Astralis are going to think about for this following round. And because sometimes that lobby control can be hard to stop, even if you have a lot of players there, will Astralis try to double down on it and hold for pushes? Or are they going to try to bait that aggression, squeeze out to somewhere else? That's what I'm most curious about.
Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on it. Snappy should have a gun on the ground, but seeing as how much he spent, I was curious for a second, maybe double sniper setup, which would be wild. But he just drops like $6,900 on the round. And it seems like Astralis are going to head back outdoors. Snappy all alone inside of the lobby, and we've got the boost up from Vitality on ramp, so that's going to enable them to move a player back. Shox no longer getting aggressive, no longer playing on the face of the smoke, but will that extra CT player come into fruition? They're going to be presented a lot of targets here. Zaiwu close on the smoke. A second headshot, but he can't manage that third one. Magisk is able to stay alive. Single man advantage here for Vitality, but Masuda finds the lineup through the door, and that's that lobby player. The solo lobby player for Astralis goes down.
And yeah, we've got some of that more of that presence outside from Zaiwu. I mean, I love that he didn't move after his first shot. What a unique situation to be in, and of course, he gets the 2 headshots versus rifling players. Just ice out Astralis in this situation. 2-on-4, Magisk has heaven control for what it's worth. But since they have enough CTs to kind of watch all spots at this point, RPK, ice trained on this peak.
And he's going to find the headshot. Even despite being made uncomfortable by the flash. Oh, and Apex just sidelines Yugi pretty quick, so Vitality right back in control. There was a moment where it seemed like that device outer Deagle play was going to just allow Astralis to unravel all this, but Vitality's defense is looking good, despite being here on Nuke.
I know what you mean. I had the exact same feeling. That this is okay. Vitality going to toss this one back a little bit. But yeah, Zai was looking great outside, and I think the outside is looking generally a bit weaker. And I would say one of their more successful rounds were when they had Magisk in that first rifle round cross outside off the 2 smokes and just hope that no one spammed through. I mean, I might test the waters on that one more time, but we also know a focal point of Astralis' T side is getting Vents control. I don't know if they're willing to try that this time around, but I'm certain it's in the back of their heads. It's one of the things that they do that appears to be the most difficult to replicate, but they can get away with so many times in one half. And we know the value of having a T drop down the vent in the first 20 or so seconds of the round. It throws the CT rotations into absolute chaos. And we see that lurking and timing battle in the lower bomb site. And I think that's again what kind of takes Astralis' T side across the line in some of their matches.
Laying down the second smoke once they get into position, and finding a route to the secret stairs. But Zaiwu, he warns them. He knows exactly what's going on. And poor Yugi is wounded as he does get closer to that B-bomb site. It's Masuda with the one and done. Apex, great grenade, but he's going to have to try and hide. Snappy gives chase, goes down as Apex swings out the door and adds another frag to the tally. But Device, he's got 2 kills to his name already, and he's got a couple of other players to find. All the time in the world, bomb on his back. Talk me through how he wins this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, again, in the first part of a clutch, you always see this silence, and it comes down to trying to get the CTs to spread out, and then figuring out where they're going to spread out to. And it's partly a gamble, partly a read. RPK, top of the hut, will know by Device's crosshair placement what he expects, and he does find the first kill. Op is inside the hut, waiting for Device to peek, but now downstairs has been opened, and he's doing it quietly. So not only will he be offered up a bomb plant, but Zaiwu will be a little bit late to the call.
Device, he's going to prioritize plant. Zywoo's trying to close this distance, but does not want to give away his position. Device still playing into the dark. And here comes Zywoo knocking on the B site. Zywoo easily could have gone towards decontamination as opposed to double doors, and had he done that, then Device would have slipped into the double doors first before Zywoo would have line of sight. Then we would have had Device, just kind of cutting off the possibilities and potentially figuring it out. But Zywoo, he makes the gamble correct, and that right there is another for Vitality.
Device makes the most of a bad situation, but ultimately Vitality had better guns, they had better trades in the early round. Apex got 3, I think, holding from Decon in the first place, and so you'd think Astralis weren't supposed to win that round. But there's been a lot of rounds that weren't supposed to be won in this game already that we've seen come close or go the other way.
Whoa, Shocks about to throw smoke, but because of the sheer aggression here from Astralis, it was kind of put onto the shoulders of Zywoo instead. He fades away from this though. The sheer numbers of Astralis can be a horrifying challenge. Shock's gonna manage it. The first peek goes his way. Dupree drops that bomb, so even further information gained here from the CTs. Go ahead and forfeit the ramp room. What are Astralis gonna do about it? They can't really fight their way out. And they're slowly losing numbers one after another.
Yeah. Well, ramp is kind of like mid on a map, It's useful, but you can't plant there. And just as you're saying, they're going to have to try to make a move from this point. But as long as the CTs have numbers, they can cover all routes of escape and attack at the same time. So Astralis, they'll group to try to push and face their fears. They actually take out Zywoo on top of it. Oh, okay, well, I called that a bit too soon. Apex seemed unaware of the potential threat in both situations, wins both duels, and Vitality come out just fine. Don't know exactly what happened there.
Yeah, minimal losses all the while, so nobody loses their head just yet. Astralis going to be coming back in with a nice strong buy. No op though. Still no op in this equation.
he just did the no looker. He just turned away for kind of no reason, and then looked back just for the style points. Okay, so we're into round 11 already. Back to another buy. What is going to be Astralis' game plan once again? It looks like I said on outside, Magisk at the in the front carts here, and Dupree up top to see if there are any pushes. Run-of-the-mill default towards outside. Again, they're not overstacking in the lobby. Instead, having one man sit and watch. I think this does make sense because Vitality, they haven't been applying a lot of pressure to the cross, but wow, how things change. Magisk and Yugi get collateral through the box.
Unreal. I would love to have that one on the highlight, just because Zywoo, we talk about it, the unconfirmed damage, the invisible wounds. He's looking over top of now Zywoo, and he does catch Yugi.
It's kind of a quiet cross, but they do get down. But now that it's known, because they mistimed it with how they cross and the smoke's coming up, Apex is going to unleash.
Yeah, he's going to start sprinting inwards. All the while, Shocks, he holds on sight, but Device turns his head back, and that's a big kill. It opens up the possibility of rotating up towards A. Shocks realizes this. He tries to stop it. And he's going to have to go all the way outside. Masuda, he comes back from ramp fast enough, and I think because Astralis are aware that this isn't a surprise to the CTs, they stutter step it, and now they've just gone ahead and lost the bomb inside of Mini while they did still remain downstairs. This is going to be really hard for them to claw their way out. It looked like they had that open route. They could have just all flown up the ladder and nobody would have stopped them, but now it boils down to just Dupree. He's stopped by Masuda, who wasted no time getting up into heaven, throwing himself down onto the A site, and shutting down what could have been the rotate from Astralis.
Yeah, I think I see it the same way you did. It felt like communication might have been a bit cloudy at that moment, where they could have potentially committed downstairs. And as Vitality made the immediate gamble rotation up to heaven and to overstack upstairs, Astralis give them just enough time to get into perfect positions to stop the vent. As a team that's lower, you never want to have to come up the vent. You'd only do that in a situation where you know that upstairs is completely clean, because it's such a disfavored battle. And they still make that decision, and they do it a bit late. So the cross comes down once again. Astralis are getting this far, so you have to understand why they're trying it. Trade comes out.
Yeah.
Vitality's still in the power position with the guns.
It's a weird one. You know, there was a moment there where Apex, because he threw down his Molotov and interrupted the smoke wall, he would have seen 4 players just jumping, literally jumping over top the gap. He peeks back into Mini for a moment, and